Hey guys, Harv here, and welcome back to Space Tourism in the Kerbal space program. Yes, this is the series where we are making a space tourism company. And today, oddly, I've got a drink with me. In order to try and perhaps avoid all the coughing fits I seem to be having. But anyway, space tourism. So we've just had a four video long segment on planes. And I'm thinking that I want to keep this series varied so that people don't get bored. And what a way to start doing that than to build another plane. No, hear me out. Building another plane, or designing and building another plane. This one isn't going to be used in or on or around Kerbal. This one is going to go to Laythe. And hence the weird attempt to design something that's not exactly usual. Yes, this plane will not be a single stage to orbit, unless you're talking about Laythe. It will be just a plane put on top of a rocket, and we'll put it up there to Laythe, probably dock it onto the Jool space station, which we've got up there, for refueling purposes, and because, hey, we might be able to, exchange crews and things. So it will have RCS and docking ports capabilities, as should most things, and it will generally be a scout to look around Laythe, to find good places to land on Laythe, that's it really. Yeah, that's actually it. Eventually it might become a single person ferry to and from Laythe. We'll repurpose it and we'll find some sort of use for it. But I'm thinking this is how we shall decide where to build a base, because I want it to be somewhere that has a long flat runway, a natural runway, explicitly for planes, so that we can get some good single stage to orbit traffic going. Can you tell I like single stages to orbit? Maybe. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to this particular design. So strap some fuel on. Decided to go entirely liquid fuel because its target area is Laythe, but it's also going to be going to and from Laythe, I think. So the highest functionality possible in space is kind of ideal, along with the fact that rocket engines or rocket fuel tanks have the highest fuel density. So we can use the liquid fuel that they have, and we can also use the oxidizer they have for this LV909 oxidizer driven rocket engine. So it's kind of a nice compromise between the two different styles of engine. And yeah, we've got that sorted out. So we've got our liquid fuel on the sides and in the middle, and we want to work on getting some wing surfaces. So I'm thinking to start off with that, yes, we just use this little one, but nah, this is going to be a heavy, really quite dense rocket, and dense is the correct description for it. It's not all too heavy by most terms, it's just very dense for a plane. Not at all stupid. So we get some big delta wings, we have some nice canards, which, because I have obsessive compulsive disorder, or at least I like to say that I have, because for some reason it, I don't know, why do people say that? Go, oh, I have OCD. I don't really have OCD. I don't think anyone who says they have OCD really does have OCD. It's just, we just say it because we like to insist on things, and we like to have an excuse for being stubborn, I guess. Anyway, if I were to say that I had OCD, I'd say that I want the delta wings, the angle of the delta wings to be aligned with the hypotenuse, to be aligned with the hypotenuse of the canards at the front, kind of like they are now. So yeah, that's my own personal fake OCD. What's yours? Don't answer. Just the comments spammed with, oh, I have to have my bread buttered on both sides. Just random things. And now, because I've said that example, people are going to say similarly stupid things. Man, some people, including me, some people. So yes, that's our plane, and I've spent all this time building this plane, and of course the next step after we have built this plane is to go and test fly it. So we'll do that shortly, like now. We have several different things on it. We've got our intake air, we've got, ram intakes, we've got aerial side intakes, we've got wheels, we've got engines, 2 types of engine, 3 engines in total, we've got command pods, we've got batteries, we've got no power generation apart from the engines themselves at this point. Because yes, if you didn't know, and this was a discovery, a relatively recent discovery, by which I mean months ago, which is relatively recently in my history of the game. But in case you didn't know, engines do generate electricity as they burn. I guess the heat is portioned off or something, used to drive a small steam turbine maybe, who knows. Hey, people just thinking steam turbines, ooh, how old-fashioned. But no, nuclear fusion, as an example. Nuclear fusion, really, really modern technology. What is it based on? Steam turbines. It's true, steam turbines. They actually generate electricity via steam turbines. Nuclear fusion, this is. And nuclear fission. And nuclear fission are exactly the same thing. So, yeah. Really high-tech nuclear fusion? No, steam turbines, that's all it is. I mean, yes, okay, you have to have toroidal shape in which you compress the plasma to extremely dense, measurements using laser bombardment and, magnetic fields and stuff, and you have to have all that high-tech technology. But at the end of the day, it comes down to a steam engine. I'm just working through you do realise I'm working through a list of professions, and I'm trying to just ignore, no, not ignore, I'm trying to annoy every single person. So that's the nuclear physicists annoyed. Oh yes, I can annoy, why do I call it ignore, annoyed, I don't know. I can annoy the aerospace engineers who may be watching. Yes, with my plane. Do you like Delta Wings? Do you like Delta Wings? Yeah, I'm going to put some deluxe Delta Wings on the side. I don't know whether that was a good idea, having them up like that. But it worked, or a similar kind of style worked for my single-staged orbit. So, that's what I'm going to do. And it's preferable to having a single tail fin in the middle because I need to be able to dock. And having a docking port on top of the body is probably the best place to put it. And yes, this is going to be called Lathe Bound Mark 1. It's a completely new concept to this channel, putting planes on top of rockets, and therefore I believe it is destined to catastrophically fail. And yes, using the SLS Mark II that I've imported from the VAB into the spaceplane hangar. If you want to know how to do that, you'll have to click the button below. No, I'll tell you right now, because I'm so benevolent like that. You can go into your KSP save game directory and move craft files from within the saves folder over to from the VAB to the spaceplane hangar, or the opposite way. And then once I put this together, I moved it from the spaceplane hangar back to the VAB and saved it again. So yeah, that worked quite well. And Jool is in the correct place in the sky, the correct launch window. So we're going to launch. Use up all our solid rocket boosters, get our liquid fuel running, trying to make use of the efficiency, because I am going to be relying on the single stage to, no, not single stage to orbit, I'm going to be relying on the Spacia launch stage to actually get me to Jool. That's all I have in terms of getting me there, and doing most of the maneuvers as well. So I'm placing quite a bit of faith in my launch stage here. But it has performed well in the past. We have proven its capabilities. I think it was the second episode that we proved a lot of its capabilities. So it should be able to do the job. And there we go. That's an apogee, an apoapsis around Kerbin. Apokey? Yeah, I don't know. An apogee there, and we'll burn, circularize, but we're trying not to leave too much litter around. Our solar system has what do people say? What's the things you see around small villages and towns? It's like, yes, the county council has the highest acclaimed or lowest litter percentage. The percentage of the streets is the lowest possible. It's like if you just walk down a road, you get some villages where it's like 1% litter, and they just one piece of litter every 100 meters. And then you get to some cities where it's 100% litter, and you're just walking on litter. In fact, the concrete, I know that the concrete in some cities is recycled litter. And it's not even recycled, it's just reused. People drop it, and other people walk over it. And there's so many people in those big cities that it just gets crushed into the ground and forms new concrete. Yeah, that's actually what happens. Yes, this is all true. So our spaceplane is in orbit. and we're going to leave it there for the time being because there's another thing we want to launch to Jool. We have our shuttle, the crew shuttle, which we put up and docked to our very low Kerbal orbit space station in the last episode. And the reason, as stated in the previous episode, that we're not just using the one that's already docked up there and ready to go with people inside it, is because it's got people inside it. I don't know for sure whether the design itself is capable of transporting those people all the way to Jool and to the space station. I need to be sure of that before I go ahead and risk their lives. Because, yeah, sure, as I mentioned in the last episode, having deaths creates drama, and for the company that creates hype and interest. But we don't have too many deaths, because then people will be scared to fly with us. But yeah, so put this one into orbit. And unlike the space plane that we've built for Laythe, this one is going to do something really stupid. It's going to undock. This bit is going to flip around, and all this beautiful liquid fuel, all this fuel that we've spent and put this massive tank in orbit, we're going to deorbit it. We're just going to drop it in the ocean and leave it there. Why? Well, because I forgot to put docking ports on it, and mainly because we want to test our shuttle. I just pressed the lever on my chair and it dropped me down about a meter. Wow. I want to... There we go. I want to leave my... Words. Those things, Harvey. Those things that you put together to make sentences. What am I trying to say? The shuttle will be departing from the space station under its own fuel. So having any other fuel, say in the form of a leftover launch stage, would not be a fair test of its capacity to transport people to Jool. Yeah. So now we've swapped over to the space plane, and we're back on the space plane, using the launch stage to propel us all the way to Jool, or more accurately to propel us onto a trajectory that will encounter Jool sometime in the future. And once that is set up with the handy use of the manoeuvre nodes and whatnot, we're going to swap back to this shuttle and under the propulsion of its own engines and fuel. We'll set a manoeuvre node and we'll do exactly the same thing, get it onto a trajectory that will eventually make it encounter Jool. Excuse me. Burping a lot. Side effect of drinking and talking. Put the two together and you get loads of burping. It sounds really disgusting, but it's so quiet that I don't think people notice. I just randomly say, I just like go, excuse me. just out of the blue, excuse me. I just imagine there's some people watching the video going, just listening, they hear, excuse me, bless you. What? Why did I say that? Yes. The weird ideas I have about my subscriber base, eh? Those weird ideas. I should make a book. I should write a book. Something about the opinions I have of my subscribers. Or the weird people you find on YouTube. You know, something like that. The weirdest for the bunch has got to be the YouTubers themselves. And, you know, I have first-hand evidence of this. You have first-hand evidence of this. You watched me. God knows why. But yeah. So we have our encounter. I've got these two ships, and they are both on a trajectory to encounter them with Jool. And we're going to skip over the majority of the actual long Jool orbital mechanics, but because we've all done them before, I'm sure. But I will say this, that because these two missions were launched towards Jool pretty much at exactly the same time, it was annoying that they came in so close together. Originally, one was going to take 312 days to get to Jool, and the other was going to take 313 days to get to Jool. Which is not ideal, because I have to control both of these things in real time. You know, well, not in real time, but I have to make them both successful, and I can only be controlling one thing at a time. So it was a bit difficult, and I had to do some weird, complex maneuvers in order to try and extend, without wasting too much fuel, extend the time it takes to get to Jool. But I managed it, and I managed to increase that one-day gap to more like a 12-day, a 2-week gap. And yeah, that worked well. So that was the space station that we briefly saw there, the Jool space station. Haven't seen it on this show for a while, for about 4 episodes, but now we're back. We're back, and we've come back to visit the astronauts on the space station, Jeb, Bill and Bob, in their crew shuttle. I'm not entirely sure what the crew shuttle's for at the moment, because it's just like a load of fuel and engines and command pod, and now I'm bringing this crew shuttle from Kerbin over here. I think the crew shuttle is for manoeuvres within the Jool system, whereas the Kerbin to Jool shuttle is for manoeuvres from, hey, Kerbin to Jool, or vice versa. But anyway, this plane with its big launch stage on the back managed to start aerobraking, and that is beautiful. That is beautiful. Look at it. Oh man, that's got to be the thumbnail. I'm making that the thumbnail. That looks so damn nice. For some reason, it just looks really, really nice. I think it's probably the red on the green, you know. Those two opposite colours go together really, really well. So yes, we're trying to control it futilely. There's no real point to do this because there's no damage. There's no heating from re-entry or aerobraking at all. But nonetheless, it's nice to keep appearances. So we get the aerobraking. We slow down without using any fuel whatsoever, and we bring down the apoapsis. Now, originally, as you can see from the target maneuver node, I was aiming to bring that periapsis up, you know, I mean the apoapsis, bring it down to the orbital height of the space station. And if I did that, I could have then extended out the periapsis to just beneath that of the orbit, and from then judged my orbit. Instead, what happens is that it doesn't go far enough, and my apoapsis stays above the altitude of the low Jool orbit space station. So we just leave it there, and I will correct my inclination difference between myself and the space station. As soon as we get out of the atmosphere, start time warping, do that. The next thing on the list after that is to... There we go, time warp. Next thing after that is to extend our periapsis out away from the atmosphere. We'll check to make sure that the other probe isn't going to crash into Jool, because we did set up the trajectory. It is there, ready to aerobrake. I think there's 6 days left until it does so. So we have to get all our manoeuvres done with this ship. We have to get them done within 6 days. Otherwise, we'll end up trying to control 2 ships at once, and things will go badly wrong. So, first of all, maneuver node. No, not a maneuver node. Just inclination change, just to bring our relative inclination difference down to 0. Or as close as possible. So, there we go, get onto the node, and burn north. Raise that up to 0.0. There we go. Or NAN. Oof. Legendary, NAN. 0.0 is good, but having NAN, that's better. I don't know what it stands for. Non-applicable number, maybe. NAN, non-applicable number? Or it could be number applicable not. Doesn't make sense. Yeah, so something like this. So we've got our apoapsis up here. We want to raise our periapsis, point prograde in order to do that, and burn. Pointing prograde is all good, but you know, burning at the same time is crucial for to go anywhere. So we raise that, and we bring our periapsis up. We bring it up, we bring it up, we bring it up just about to the same altitude as the orbit. So we have that in line, and then all we need to do is just manipulate our apoapsis to manipulate our orbital period, so that when we do come down to our periapsis, we happen to do so in a synchronous trajectory with the space station. Which, in layman's terms, means we're going to burn in order to get near the space station. Right? That's what it means. In case, if you ever hear someone talking about synchronous orbits, it just means orbits that coincide with one another. Yeah? That's all it means. Anyway, burning along our retrograde orbit now in the opposite direction to that which we are travelling tangential to the celestial body. I'm just trying to use long words. In reality, these words really aren't very complicated. But, you know, just throw in. There's just the right part of my brain going, words, what words can we use? We need to sound like we're clever. Just get the book. This book's about French. Use it. Get anything. Geometry, tangential, there we go. German words. Speaking German, they'll make you sound even more intelligent. Yeah, if only I could. I'm studying German GCSE, but it's going alright. I can do the speaking and the writing. I just can't listen or read, apparently. Anyway, why am I talking about my education? Space. The final frontier. This is what we're interested in. We've created our intersection. We have our closest approach at roughly 2 kilometers. And we just need to point in a certain place on the nav wall to bring our retrograde marker over the retrograde marker for the space station itself. The effect of which is to slow ourselves down, our relative velocity down, whilst making our vector, the direction of our vector towards the actual space station. So that means we're getting close. Currently a 4 kilometer separation, need to do some more burning, move that retrograde marker, and we've gone past it. Never mind. We've nearly run out of fuel on this tank, which is not good. That's really, really not good. I was hoping to have some left over to deorbit it with, but we're in orbit around a gas giant, and so deorbiting is actually no mean feat, or no easy feat. It's quite a mean feat. It's got several feet, size 11s. And we shall burn retrograde, cancel out our relative velocity with what little fuel we have remaining in the launch stage, decouple that, swap over to our spaceplane here, turn on the liquid fueled engine. See, if instead of using the launch stage for all that time, if we had swapped over earlier to the liquid engine, because we do have a remarkable amount of delta V, all this fuel with this one liquid engine, despite the fact that we're carrying along a load of junk like wings and other types of engines that aren't useful in a vacuum, despite the fact of all that, we do have a hell of a lot of delta V. So it would have made sense to decouple earlier and use the remaining fuel in the probe down there to actually deorbit it, because now we just have more junk everywhere, and that one doesn't even have a docking port on it, so we can't get rid of that junk. But there is another junk in orbit around Jool, which we can get rid of, and that's another thing we're going to do next episode. So stick around for that. What we're going to do, we're going to bring this around, we're going to rotate it. Excuse me. We're going to rotate it, we're going to point the docking ports to one another and burn upwards using our RCS jets. And this is turning into quite a spaceport, isn't it? I don't know why I chose this particular place to dock. That probe on the other side is really, really close, and I should really be doing something with that. It's just kind of useless at the moment. Maybe I'll drag it and put it into orbit around Laythe, or one of the other moons for that matter. Yeah, I might put it into orbit around one of the other moons. I don't know. We'll see. There's got to be something useful we can do with it. Otherwise, it's just dead weight. We might as well get rid of it. But there we go. Maybe we'll use it as a bomb. If any of the tourists get unruly, we'll just drop a probe on their heads. Just drop a probe on their heads, and that'll sort them out, right? That's how you deal with tourists, yeah. Other people say no. You send them home. You charge them loads of money and send them home. No, just drop probes from orbital probes on their head. Rods from the gods. In reality, it's more like probes from the gods, or probes from orbit. Doesn't sound quite so exciting for some reason. Anyway, that's all that done. Now we can switch over to the shuttle, the test shuttle, and that's got its trajectory, so that comes down, and it does its aerobraking maneuver, and it gets its apoapsis down again just over the height of the orbit. So we make use of that in giving ourselves an intersect later on, after going around a few times. Get the intersect 1.5 kilometers, and we'll bring it in and do some docking. So once more, rendezvousing, bring it in, synchronous orbit that we just get close together, do some retrograde burning, and this is the end of the video, or coming up to the end of the video. We've got about 30 seconds left, so another fade, bring it in right next to the actual cruise shuttle itself, so we now have a complete spaceport. Really is cool. We have a cruise shuttle, we have a interplanetary shuttle, a space probe, a space plane, we have a big thing itself, we've got a fuel tank, we've got, you know, the actual engines, nuclear engines, all sorts of engines. Really is quite cool. Does look quite impressive. We are reaching a comfortable part limit though, so I don't want to make this base any bigger, or not too much bigger at least. Simply because I don't like having the lag when I'm trying to dock with it. So, you know, moderate size for moderate users, and everything will go fine. So a lot of things to look forward to. All the way through this recording I've been saying yes, in the next episode, yes, in the next episode, yes. In the next episode we shall be doing a lot of interesting things. So stick around. Thank you very much for watching this video of Space Tourism Episode 8. If you liked the video, please do like the video. That is, after all, what the button is there for. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and I guess I shall see you all next time.